Welcome back to I'm Looking for Work. In this video we're going to start talking about where you can go and how you can find jobs. We're going to be talking about looking for work. In this module I'm going to cover some of the basics of what you need to be doing to find all of the jobs that are out there. You'll need to know this even before you begin thinking about a resume, a cover letter or an interview. Finding a job is a numbers game, and the more resumes you can get out there, the more chances you'll have at getting an interview, and the more interviews you attend, the closer you are to getting the job that you want. Let's start with the trusty old major newspapers. Most major newspapers have an employment section, and this is one place that shouldn't be overlooked. So if you've got a local paper in your area, a major newspaper, make sure that you buy it on the most appropriate days. I know that here where I live in South Australia, Wednesdays and Saturdays are the biggest days for major newspapers. So I always make sure that I get the major newspapers on Wednesday and on Saturday and check out what jobs that they have available. In addition to the major newspapers, quite often many households have a local newspaper. It's either delivered weekly, fortnightly, sometimes even monthly. But it's a good place to start looking for a job that's close to home. One of the things that can't be overlooked these days is the internet. It's huge. Most of the jobs are going online now. If you go to Google and type in a search for jobs and then your suburb, you should get back a list of online job service providers. These services are great because you can usually sign up with them and then upload your resume and your cover letter, and it makes it very simple for you to apply for jobs. Another option is employment and temp services. It's quite common these days for employers to use employment and temp service providers to interview and screen their job applicants, rather than doing it themselves. These service providers are always looking for people to keep on their talent bank, and despite it being a pain in the backside for you to visit all of them and fill in their applications, it can be very worthwhile. I suggest looking in the yellow pages or searching on the internet for employment services, and I'm sure that you'll find some in your local area. Another option is to approach employers directly. Some employers don't advertise in newspapers, through employment agencies or via the internet. Sometimes they have so many people approaching them directly that they don't have to advertise, or they attempt to fill their positions from within their company. It can be very worthwhile for you to decide what industry and position you'd like to work in, identify employers in that industry or employers that employ people with your skills, and approach them directly. And if you happen to knock on the right door at the right time, you may get to have an interview without the competition that would have come from them advertising. That's a chance to sit down with an employer because you've walked in the door at the right time when they're looking for somebody, and not having to compete with the job, only to have to put forward your skills. And don't forget, when you're approaching these employers, to have a look at their websites to see if they have an employment section. Sometimes it's the only way that you can apply for a job with a company is through their website these days. And that's what I call creating your own opportunity. It's always good to get in the door with a referral from somebody. Friends, relatives and business associates are a great way to get an opportunity like that. If you're prepared to talk to your friends, your relatives and your business associates about the fact that you're looking for work, you just may get the opportunity to get in the door with a referral, and possibly without the competition that would be there for an advertised job. Some people just happen to know sometimes that there is a job out there that other people didn't know about. And if you're the one person that is put up for that job, sometimes you'll have an opportunity to have an interview, once again, without competition and only having to sell your skills. And you have to admit that anything you can do to reduce the number of people you're competing with for a job is very worthwhile. Have you ever been to the shops or supermarket and seen the for sale signs? The wanted, lost and found notices? The ones on the supermarket notice board. Most of these are posted by local people wanting to buy, sell and find stuff. However, They are sometimes used for posting jobs as well. If you need more places to look for work, don't overlook notice boards. Now this can be a scary thought, but going door to door can be beneficial sometimes. If you've got time on your hands and you're looking for work, if you're seriously looking for work, just any kind of work at all, you can print some copies of your resume and start knocking on the doors of businesses that you'd like to work for. You can either walk down the street and just talk to any business at all, or target people within an industry, but get out there and do it. As I keep telling you, it's a numbers game. The more people that you see, the more interviews you have, and the closer you'll be to getting the job that you want. Here's a quick note. Whether you're visiting a business for a job interview or just canvassing for work, don't ever forget this tip. Be polite to everyone that you come into contact with in the business. You never know who you're talking to in a business that you're not familiar with. Quite often the person that's working at the front desk is in direct contact with the person that could be employing you. I've even known a business owner that works as a storeman in his own business because that's the job that he enjoys the most. He employs people to run his business. Imagine if you were rude to that storeman. It's very common in business these days to network, to actually be in contact with other people, go to meetings and go to places where other people are. Now if you're a professional person and the industry holds events, it's worthwhile attending as many events where industry people meet, because industry people often know where the jobs are within the industry. But don't just think of networking as something that's done by professionals only, because every time you get into a group situation, make it known that you're looking for work. Good-hearted people may consider helping you. Networking really is just getting together with a group of people with a common interest, and could be as simple as meeting up with your friends, family, or even a past workmate. Trade magazines. If you work in an industry that has periodical magazines or newsletters, make sure you can get hold of a copy as soon as they're released. Quite often, employers within an industry advertise in these publications for employees. Here's a tip. If possible, make sure the publication has an employment section before buying it, because it can be a very expensive exercise to purchase them if they don't. Sometimes there's nothing like having an old school tie to open the doors to a new job opportunity. So don't forget your educational institutions, whether it's a school you went to, a college, a university, or even a trade education experience that you went to recently. Don't forget these opportunities. Educational institutions are often useful for recent graduates, people who keep in touch with their past educational institutions. These institutions are often approached by businesses looking for graduates, and even people just looking for work. This can include schools, colleges and universities. If you're working at the moment, one of the things you might think about is the company you're working in now, your own company. If you're looking for advancement in your career, sometimes it's worth speaking to management in the business you're working in now. Who knows, there might be a career path within the business you're working at now that you didn't know about. But a word of warning, just be careful about how you do something like this, as you may be seen as someone that's considering leaving the company if you go about it the wrong way, and you may end up being treated badly, or even worse, you might lose your job. Just remember, if you're looking for work, there are opportunities everywhere you go for finding a job. You just need to keep your eyes and ears open and make sure that you're on the lookout at all times. Keep saying to yourself, is there an opportunity here? And how could I present myself as a candidate for the opportunity? I hope that what we've covered so far has been helpful, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the next video.